So let's start to figure out how Chart.js can find the highest value here, and the rotation will be dependent on that. So for example, if I increase the value of the green one, you can see everything else will start to shrink based on their values. So let's start to make our max value in a radial bar chart dynamic. Because what I realized was I had here this hard-coded 12 because this is the highest value, and then I hard-coded here. I don't want this one hard-coded. This should be intelligent enough to loop through all these values here and make up on its own which one is the highest value. So let's start to make that. So what we're going to do here, we're going to work within this circumference, and this is from a previous video, so if you haven't seen this, please watch my previous video. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say here a constant, and we're going to call this our data points. Basically, it's going to be a new array with all of these values here. So how do we do this? Well, let me show you exactly the path. So I'm going to say here, let's do a console log. We're going to say ctx.chart. By doing that, I'm accessing the chart object here. And you can see here, then we can go into the data, somewhere here, the current, that's in here, the data object. And then in here, the data set, and we can loop through the items one by one and get the specific data value. So that's what we're going to do here. So we say here, data.data sets, and then we're going to say here, .map. I'm going to use here the map method, and the reason for this is I want to create a new array, and this array will be based on these values here, and then we can just grab the highest value out of it. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to say here, the data point, so every data point, make sure this is data point and this is data point with an S. So don't get confused with that. And I say index, although I'm not sure if we need this. And then I'm going to say here the function error expression and then curly braces. And then within here, all I want to return is basically when I'm in the data point, which is the shorthand of this entire item, we say here dot data index 0. Why index 0? We only have one data point in here. So that's it. So once we do this, then if we do a console log, we should get now the data points, save, refresh. We get now our array with all the data that we have. Alright, so now what I want to do here is get the highest value. So let's create a constant, and let's say here this is the max value equals. And the max value equals, we're going to use here the math.max command. And then we have this data point here. However, this is an array, so we need to make sure that this item understands it's an array. So we're going to use here the rest operator. So create an array with this. Once you do this, I'm going to grab this and put it in here. And if I save this right now and we refresh, you can see nothing truly happens, but we have created a new value. And let's change them all. Save, refresh. Alright, max value is of course not defined. My bad. Why? Because we need to make sure we duplicate the entire item. Let's duplicate all of it and just put it in there and put it in here. Save that, refresh. Alright, so this works. So let's test this. If I make now green the highest value. So we go to green, we say green will be 33. Save, refresh. You can see now the green one is rotating 75% and the others will align itself nicely. And that's it.